Okay, good morning. Welcome back. Let's learn how to work in Photoshop. Okay, so today I'm basically just going to teach you how to create a new document in Photoshop. That's super important to understand. There's a lot of things that you need to look at before you can actually start creating beautiful art or design in Photoshop. So this will be your welcoming screen or your when you open Photoshop, this is what it will look like. Okay, once you're here, you're going to go to either create new or open something if you want to work with something like a photo or a document that you've worked on previously. We're going to go for create new today because we're starting a whole new project. Now you'll see here I have some documents lying over here. You won't have that if it's your first time working in Photoshop. You will, because then you won't have any recent documents. So yours will just be clear over here. Okay, so I'm going to go to create new. That's going to open a next window for me or another window for me. Here it's going to say recent, and I'm going to have a couple of sizes under my recent. You won't necessarily have that because you don't have any recent saved or used sizes or custom sizes that you've made. Okay, at the top here, if you go to photo, it's going to give you stuff like a default photo size, what a landscape size is going to be, all sorts of things like that. They also have templates that you can work on. Some of these are really amazing, some are incredibly lame. Yeah, so just choose wisely. Then you can go to print. Print is something that I use quite often because I use Photoshop more for design than I do for actual editing of photos. There's a lot of presets here again that you can use, or templates for that matter. Here you have your presets of your page sizes. Now you can work your way through the presets or the sizes that they have up here. Art and illustration, web. Web would be small sized files. So your resolution over here would be 72. Whereas if you go into print, it's going to be 300. We'll talk about that in just a moment. So you've got web, mobile. The mobile will also be 72 resolution. The print is 300 pixels per inch because essentially you want to print it. So the size has to be much bigger. The quality has to be much higher. So if it's 300 pixels per inch, that means that the file size is going to be bigger, the quality of the design or the artwork is going to be better because there's more pixels in each inch of the document or of the image. Whereas with web, you're not going to print it. It's never going to leave your computer screen. So the quality doesn't have to be that high. Okay, but we're going to work with print today. Now over here, we don't work with inches in South Africa, so you can change it to centimeter or millimeter. I prefer millimeters. Here you can change the orientation of your, oh sorry, I just quickly want to go to an A4 because that's the size I'm going to be working in. Here you can change your orientation, so you can make it landscape or portrait. Depends. Your resolution 300 is fine. It's absolutely high enough. You can also change it to pixels per centimeter, but it really doesn't matter. Color mode. Now the principle says that RGB color is for using on a screen. If you're designing anything that's not going to be leaving the screen, then you use RGB. If you're going to be printing something, you use CMYK color. But it all depends on whether you're printing at a printer that uses large machinery and really, really good printers, because they make use of a CMYK color profile. It's coded colors that they mix specifically to the code that you've given them. But if you're going to be printing at a place like a Postnet or a normal little printing shop, then RGB is fine because they use digital printers where there's not a lot of color mixing, specifically code color mixing happening. You just have to remember, if you use RGB and you print at different printers, your colors are never going to be exactly the same. If you use CMYK color profile and you use the same printer and they mix the colors for you according to your code, it's always going to look the same. Okay, so I'm going to use CMYK because I'd like to think of myself as a professional that used the right color profile. Here you can use your background content if you want to. If you want to work with a transparent background, so sometimes you'll see if you're on the internet and you want to download a picture and it's a PNG, it doesn't have a background, which is awesome. You can pull that image that you've created over into another program, or you can place it on multiple backgrounds, so maybe a black background for one, or and in another document on a white background. You can play around with it a lot. For today, I'm just going to use white. Here's just your color profile again. You don't have to worry so much if you're a novice designer or a novice digital artist. Don't worry about this. This is really for advanced Photoshop users. And your pixel aspect ratio is also absolutely fine. Up here, you can go and name your document. It's better to do that at the start. In case you forget to name your document and you just hit save, it's very difficult to find a document afterwards then. If you name it from the start, then you're good and you're ready to go. And then you can just say create. And it will take a moment or two to create because I don't have the fastest computer in the world. Okay, as soon as you clicked create, this will be what your document looks like at the moment. Up here will be the name, that Let's Make Art, that I've called it. And this is your A4 page. And that's about it for creating a document in Photoshop. I'm not going to do anything else at the moment. Next video that I'll be making, I'll start looking at some of the tools and things like that. So see you again later.